Alright, folks, I've got a little issue here, which I think is only showing up on my end. It's not showing up on your end, so I'm gonna play a little warm-up music here, and I'll be with you in a few minutes. Hopefully, this does not look like what my preview window looks like, but it looks like what my live stream window looks like. And if the picture is going in and out over and over again, I apologize. Well, how's everybody doing here out there on Sapara Tapara land? This is not the official beginning yet. Alright? So everybody, let's not just act like we're in the official beginning mode yet. We're not. How's everybody doing this fine day we got? We got some stories to talk about today. Let's hope that I do not lose my mind today. Let's hope that I keep everything self-contained within the contaminated space and the self-defined space of not harming anyone or self or anything in this dialogue and this discourse within the minefield that we have before us, or rather the minefields. There are multiplicities of minefields, and there's probably a lot of Venn diagrams of minefields and minefields inside minefields in the world that we now live in. We live in infinite regress minefielditis. I think that's what it is. So, within that context, I venture to share all of the rut of the world and all of the joy as well, all within one show. It's a humble goal. It's not like I'm trying to be like amazeballs or anything. I mean, I'm not full of myself. I'm not delusional. Oh, I don't think that I'm the savior of the universe. You know, I saw something interesting. Touch on it briefly. This isn't part of the show. I saw Mark Zaid. Mark Zaid, I believe, is the attorney that is representing Mark Wade in a lawsuit involved. It's your boy Zach. Comic skates matter with your boy Zach. Wait, no, it's just your boy Zach. I don't know what he is. Anyway, guy that does the comic videos, their comic book reviews in his car. I think that was his initial claim to fame, but now he does comic books. He's making bank too. Dude, he's making bank. Anyway, that Mark Zaid, I believe, is now the attorney representing the whistleblower in the Donald Trump impeachment case. That's amazeballs. It's amazeballs. It's Mark Zaid. Mark Zaid. Because it's so funny. It was Mark Wade and then Mark Zaid. Anyway. Weird. Alright. I think we're about ready to begin now. Alright, let me just do a little Alright, I got the little music is off. And about ready to hit the record button. Then I'll hit the music button, wait a little bit, and I'll do my introduction. And this, by the way, is where you can get the edited version of this video live stream. I do this live stream version is going to be on the iState YouTube channel for now. I may switch it, who knows. I have a couple of different YouTube channels that I'm going to be using, and one of the YouTube channels that I'm so proud I got this channel years and years ago. If you go to youtube.com/Obamacare, that's mine. That's my channel. That is literally my channel. Seriously. That's wild, but it's true. It literally is my channel. I got it when it was first started. At one point, I tell you the truth, I had twitter.com/Obamacare. I had that for about a year and a half, and then it got nuked. And then shortly after it got nuked, it was given to somebody else. I tell you the truth, this is a true story. And that is not even going to be featured on the edited version of this show. The edited version of the show, the only edits that are done is I cut out all the stuff leading up to the point where I start this recording, and then I have a break in between. I cut that break out as well. And yeah, that's basically the edited version of the show. And then that show gets turned into, 4, 6, or however many videos, depending on how many times I talk for more than 4 minutes about a topic. And in the end, I think, yeah, I'd listen to that again. Because if I wouldn't listen to it again, and hey, that happens. Kids, we don't bat 1,000 when we swing for the fences, so to speak. So, at any rate, I'm about ready to punch this puppy in the head and get the show started. So let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned into Freeqo Talks. I am Freeqo, and I talk. And what I talk about are, well, first off, I talk about pioneering news. That's tech, science, underground news links. We got a number of stories here. We got some creeps. We got some horde of bots. We got super plastic IRs on the pioneering newsers, and then after we get done with the old pioneering newsers, we're gonna switch gears and we're going into that area that is the most challenging for us, and everybody knows it's the Newsfire channel, newsfire.tv, which is the top fires of the day. And today we're gonna be looking at whistleblowers and Donald get outs and child caught thing, and look, a boat. There's a shipping boat, so there's gonna be a shipping boat in the story, and then there's there's stuff. So we'll get to that, and then of course after you've been in the news fires for a bit, and it's a little bit difficult, it is for me, then we try to lighten things up here with the news-alites. We got the Braves are in trouble. Something about, I may have a little bit of a scoop here, by the way. I'm just gonna say I may have a scoop on this story. Like an exclusive Freeqo scoop on this story. I don't know if anybody else caught this. HBO blackout can't stop Dish from game. Oh, well, anyway. So, yeah. I got some stuff. And if anybody of you stop and go back and read the video, like right now, instead of staying with the surprise. I kill you. I kill you. I kill you. I'm trying to do that, was it Ahmed? Jeff Dunham's Ahmed. I love that guy. Ahmed is the best. Seriously. I mean, everybody needs some Ahmed in his life. So we are set to begin our show, and let's begin where we always begin. We're going to go and get on into the pioneering news. We're going to try a little bit something different here, a little bit of visuals here, and see how this goes. See what you think about it in the end. So we're going to go to the Pioneering Herald for Pioneering Newser, which we do by clicking on that little bit of button there. And then we go down here. Ooh, that's interesting. That's the image that I chose to feature for this particular Pioneering Herald for Thursday, November 7th, 2019. And we get to the leads here, and there's this. Thanks to these creeps, no one can sink your battleship ever again. Spiders and ants inspire metal that won't sink, from phys.org. And an excerpt from phys.org. University of Rochester researchers, inspired by diving bell spiders and rafts of fire ants, have created a metallic structure that is so water repellent it refuses to sink, no matter how often it is forced into water or how much it is damaged or punctured. I want to get down to the end here because I want to be a killjoy, but I'll come back to this. I'm not done. The researchers found, however, that after being immersed in water for long periods of time, the surfaces may start to lose their hydrophobic properties. Hydrophobic, baby! Oh, a little bit hydrophobic at times. Hydrophobics, there are things in the universe that we can explain. And then there's things in the universe which we just don't seem to be able to explain as well as others. So let's think about that. Yeah. Spiders and ants inspire metal that won't sink. So, could this lead to an unsinkable ship? A wearable flotation device that will still float after being punctured? Electronic monitoring device that can survive in long term in the ocean? All of the above, says Chunlei Guo, professor of optics and physics, whose lab describes the structure in ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces. The structure uses a groundbreaking technique the lab developed for using femtosecond burst. Oh my gosh, femtosecond? Femtosecond? Oh my gosh, that's a real word, everybody. Come on. Come on, let's go get the duck. Come on, let's go figure out a little bit about this word, because this is worth exploring, folks. Come on, you gotta go with me on this. Oh my shabalapas! A femtosecond. Let me see how many seconds are on there. Bzz. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna copy up here. So what is that? What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think 15 or 14. I don't know. I might have screwed up there at the end. Holy moly, zeros. That's a lot of Zs. That's a lot of Zs in that number there. This femtosecond has a lot of Zs in it. No. Would have been great if it would have been 13 zeros. That would have been so poetic. So what is the etonym? Let's go. Femtosecond eponym. All right, where's the you don't have it. You don't have anything. Nothing. Well, come on, duck. All right. Okay, duck. You made me do it. I'm going to go femtosecond etonym. Okay. Femtosecond. Let's see. Femtosecond. The SI unit of time equals, I was right, minus 15. That is 1 quadrillionth or 1 millionth or 1 billion. For context, a femtosecond is to a second what a second is to about 31.7 million years. Okay, the word femtosecond is formed by the psi prefix femto, and the psi unit second is, its symbol is, okay. What is a psi prefix? There was an issue oh man. Okay, so what, let's go. Let's find out what femto is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. You never know. Listen, I'm going to go back to you, duck. But that was disappointing, duck. I love you and I'm with you. I'm willing to help you, though, because I know that you're just growing. And Google has a huge advantage over you. So I'm not judging you. Still with you, Doc. Femto is a unit prefix in the metric system denoting a factor. Oh, so that's what it just means. Oh, okay. So there it is. There you go. Look at these. There's other ones. So there's deci and centi. I know some of these. I've heard of pico, but femto is a whole other level. Holy moly, femto is like below pico, and I know in the UFC they're talking about all the problems that they have now because they can find picos, and John Jones has got picos, and now we're talking picos. We're talking like we found 15 picos, but this is even worse. But it is or better or worse depending on how you look at it. Femto, but listen, that word femto, that is a winning word, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. That is it sounds great. That's the name of my new band. My old band was Frozen Alive. My new band is Femto. I'm just kidding. I'm never going to name my band Femto. I'm not a loser. A loser times 15. A horde of bots to restore loss after stroke. Tiny transporters could deliver treatment to stroke patients from biz.org. And this is an excerpt from biz.org here. The brain is the only organ to have its own security system, a tightly packed network of blood vessels and barriers that allow the entry of essential nutrients while blocking other potentially harmful substances. Way to go, brain! Super! Yeah! The security system. Yeah! Security! Yeah! Sorry, I got excited thinking about my brain with its own security because of the level of badasseries that the brain kicking into Ramboville there. Know what I'm talking about. However, the barrier also blocks light. Oh, this isn't good. Now I don't feel so good. Now Rambo's looking a little bit like a frickin' jerk right now. The barrier also blocks life-saving drugs, rendering it difficult to treat a range of range of conditions, including stroke. Dang, I was all pumped about that. That sucks, man. It's like when you find out you have a superpower and every wish that you make comes true. But it only comes true for whoever you hate the most in life, and only if it helps them. You know, like that. Now, the research carried out in mice and published... Wait a second, this sentence. Think about what they're trying to communicate in as little words as possible, I think. Now, the research carried out on mice and published... See, that's the part where you put it together then there instead of saying a research that was carried out by mice was a study. I don't know. I don't do this though, but I don't know. It works. You know what? I'll give it to you. It's an economy of words. Now, the research carried out on mice and published today in the journal ACS Nano shows that liposomes can potentially transport life-saving drugs across the barrier. Wow. The researchers were able to generate microscopic pictures of the brain tissue using state-of-the-art imagining techniques, showing the nanomaterial is a viable transporter. So these tiny little nanomaterials they can get through the shield. You know, that is wicked. You know what this means? This means if they can use nanomaterial to get through the shield for the good stuff. Yes. There's always another side to every story. Actually, that's not true. There's never, ever, always and always. Up to now, scientists haven't yet devised a reliable way to deliver drugs to damaged brain efficiently. One of the last frontiers in medical science. But now the team show that following a stroke event, liposomes are able to penetrate the brain by being transported across the tightly packed endothelial cells by using pouch-like structures known as caveoli. Now that's another great sounding word, isn't it? Great sounding word. I like this word. I'm going to check this word out. You know what? This is a good test. Let's do this one. Come on, kids. Come with me. Come on. I wrote this title, by the way. So this title is not connected to this. I wrote this title. And I'm proud of this title. You guys noticed this time I haven't been bragging about my titles as much. No, I'm not. I like my titles. But I'm going to take this one because in this case, I want you to note. So that adds another element to this. A horde of bots to restore loss after stroke. All right. So let's get on over to Babel. It's time for Babel, the Library of Babel, which is at libraryofbabel.info, by the way. I should share that. Libraryofbabel.info. You know what? Let's add that. Let's add that. We're going to add that string right there. And let's see. Do you think with that string added, now come on. Now it's not just this. And this is some high language in here. I mean, I don't know these. I have a pretty good vocabulary. I'm telling you, I don't know what that word is. But then again, I don't have a good scientific vocabulary, I have to say. I have a good poetic, artistic, philosophical, historical vocabulary. not a very scientific and mathematical vocabulary. I don't know those terminologies well at all. I'm rudely deficient. Here we go. Look at that. Exact match. This is the title. So this is from the book. This is the book. And this is page 41 from the book. It's they produce all of these books. These are all different books. These are the names of the books. So let's check this out. Look at that. Look at that. Basically, what they propose is that they have every single combination of letters in every single scenario within, what was it, 3,000? Was it 3,000 words or letters? I can't remember which one, whatever it was. I can find out pretty quickly. They have every single combination that you could possibly make. So you're going to find at least one iteration of any combination within this library of 3,200 characters. That's what it is. And I'm going to beat this thing to death just because of stuff. And you can and this is the one that gets it. This particular article. And you can see, by the way, that this is where we get the teaser image for this particular pioneering herald as well. So that is amazing. It's incredible. And again, there's always, there's the dystopian, utopian, and then there is the other parts. One of the big factors in determining the dystopian or utopian, I don't believe in either one necessarily, but the tendency towards one or the other, depending on your preferences. Everything is within a framework of preference. Then the battle is between who has this technological advantage. Is it only in the hands of basically the corpo state? Do they lock it up with their IPs? Do they colonize your mind with their IPs? Or do we have open source answers to these technological challenges? I mean, this is basically a technology race between consensual associations and highly centralized, highly hierarchical, highly exclusionary, highly artificially scarcity creating manipulative structures. They'll just become increasingly in that direction. So it's an important fight, and this is the very type of technology that we got to be hoping and praying, if you're the praying type, that we have some folks on the consensual side that are trying to deliver non-colonized technology, if you will. I know that amongst the left, and I'll say the actual left, not this authoritarian stuff you're seeing in the mainstream world, this colonization is a big theme, and of course the LARPers have taken it and already turned it into a boomerism, if you will, on the by the way, boomer is a dead phrase. It's done. It's officially done. So just to let you know, I felt like that yesterday, and now today I feel like that's done. Everybody just stop it. Okay, so that won't be the last time you hear it on this show, but that'll be the last time you hear it in which I'm not intentionally trying to be ironic or whatever. Anyway, the LARPers of the left, the shrillers, and by the left I mean the authoritarian left that you see spewing their crap in the world, the politics USAs, the young Turks, the flamethrowers on the left, that they take everything and they turn it into authoritarian weapons. So the idea of colonization in and of itself is very thoughtful, and I would explore that. I would encourage you to explore that type of. Well, I won't get into it now because again, this would be this whole thing would. I could do a 30-minute, 40-minute rant alone on that. So like in essence, it's the idea in IP colonization is that IP is intellectual property, and so you create an idea and then you own it and you lock it up, and you charge a high price for anyone to have access to it if you let anyone have access to it all. So Disney, for instance, now that they've bought out Fox, now all of a sudden all these movies that we could see anytime we want, all of them gone behind paywalls, everything. They want to make us beg for it. They want to make us jump through hoops and pay them through the nose to get this IP. And y'all who support IP, this is where it leads. This is hyper IP reality. IP is the big thing between the United States, and I'm not divided on it. I don't even care that I don't favor China in any way, shape, or form. China is an ethno-nationalist state. It's a de facto. I mean, I don't want to. It's in the same family of political thought that Hitler was firmly entrenched in, and I am sure, especially now that I know Chinese history a lot more than I did a few years ago, I am sure that Hitler learned a lot from the Chinese. They have perfected this whole ethno-nationalist thing, the whole blood and soil thing. In essence, it comes from China. But anyway, see, I know I'm sorry. I'm trying not to rant. I'm trying not to make these things go too long. But if what we have to do is, China is behind the 8 ball in key areas when it comes to IP because the West got there first. That's it. They got there first and then they locked it up. So it's colonialism, just, making China pay through the nose. Now China just basically just said, in China, the whole idea of IP is just so alien to them. It's a noble thing in a lot of ways to be able to effectively copy others. So there's a lot of reasons for that, but it's totally alien to them. And I'm not for America or anyone winning the IP war. I'm not for anyone consolidating IP power in the universe. I'm for ending IP, and IP is one of the key ways that they'll be able to lock this technology up. Instead of us being able to have access to it, to be able to develop it, all kinds of in just wild ways, awesome ways, and they'll lock it up and they'll make us pay through the nose if we even get to afford it at all. And here's the last story in the Pioneering Newser lead set. Super plastic gives super IR vision. New plastic could bring infrared security to your home from Futurity. And then an excerpt from it. A new kind of plastic is incredibly useful for lenses, windows, and other devices requiring transmission of infrared light, which makes heat visible. In the 5 years since, researchers created a material, a sulfur-based polymer they forged from waste generated by refining fossil fuels. The team has improved the material and created the next generation of lenses. IR imaging technology is already used extensively for military applications such as night vision and heat-seeking missiles, says Jeffrey Pyen, a professor in the chemistry and biochemistry department at the University of Arizona. I'm going to make a note of this. I'm going to start to skip names and all of these things. And you could go back and read these. You can go back to, if you go back to the Pioneering Newsers, you can always find, the date of the show and look for the show there. Then you can get a link to the article and then you can read it. But I really, that's the worst part for me reading these. It's like, I just hate it. I just don't like reading. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. So I'm not going to do it, okay? I'm done with this. This is how you do it now, ready? Although I'll make some exceptions when I feel like I should. IR imaging technology is already used extensively for military applications such as night vision and heat-seeking missiles, the dude said, who did this. But for consumers and the transportation sector, cost limits high-volume production of this technology. So, yeah. So that's what they have to work on, and that's usually the case when things start out. Will this lead to anything? Let's take a look a little bit deeper in the story. Will this lead to anything more beyond this, or will this This be a dead end. Who knows? It's low. Here's a little picture. A sample of this polymer material. Okay, better than before. So the new polymers are stronger and more temperate resistance than the first generation sulfur plastic researchers developed in 2014. Okay. Okay, so the components that give rise to useful optical properties such as sulfur bonds also compromise the strength and temperature resistance of the material. Alright. To overcome the challenge, Klein used computational simulations to design organic molecules that were not IR observing and predicted transparency of candidate materials. It could have taken years to test these materials in the laboratory, but we were able to greatly accelerate new material designs using this method. So that's just awesome, dudes. Of course, same old thing, you know. They're developing it within this University of Arizona. It's this, under what auspices is this being done? Who gets this technology? Who gets this IP? That's what I want to know. Where's the IP going for this? That's what I want to know. Okay, so that was a nice light way to open up the show, and it just happened that way, and I'm very happy that it happened that way. But we're gonna switch gears, and we are about ready to. All right, we've got to deal with the messes. Listen, I don't even really like talking about this election, the impeachments, and all this stuff. I'm kind of checking out of all that stuff, but some ways it's still kind of fun to talk about, and hopefully we can have fun with it. Or else Freeqo will freak out. We don't want that. And here we are on newsfire.tv. Let's go to the Newsfire Herald. See what we got planned, what we're going to do. And there's the one for today, Newsfire Herald for Thursday, November 7th, 2019. This is our teaser image. You're never going to guess the story that's connected to this image. Just try to guess and try to think about it. I guarantee you will not guess it. And so we get to the lead. The whistleblower's legal man blows a coup alert. Anti-Trump whistleblower's attorney. Coup is started. We will get rid of Trump, the Federalist. And then excerpt from it. One of the attorneys representing the whistleblower at the heart of the partisan Democratic impeachment inquiry against President Donald Trump, Mark Zaid, tweeted in 2017, just days after the president took office, that a coup has started and that impeachment will follow ultimately. Coup has started. First of many steps. Rebellion. Impeachment will follow ultimately. Lawyers. Mark Zaid. Coup has started. As one falls, two more will take their place. Rebellion. Impeachment. This guy is a hitman. Now, I know something about, Mark S. Zaid. Yeah, I know something about. Let's see, old Ducky. Ducky, come on, Ducky. Let's, there's that femto. I'll never remember that. Femto. Ducky. All right, let's see. Mark Zaid and, let's see, what is his, let's see, Comics Gate. All right, let's see what we got. Old Mark Zaid. Comics Gate. There it is. Wade's attorney. Mark Zaid. Comics Gate. There we go. So, this is Mark Zaid. But I want to see, what does this thing say? Because it doesn't just come in there too easily. Mark Zaid starts GoFundMe to combat Comicsgate. This guy has been, Mark Zaid has been in the thick. He is a hardcore, what I absolutely call a social justice authoritarian, or just a social authoritarian is what I just call them, social authoritarians. These are the people that are behind all of this these are the people, and they have this mindset which is not based in any kind of sense of rule of law that you would understand. It is based upon an assumption that the individual before you is of such worthlessness, such inhumanity, that the inhuman thing would be to actually give them due process, because you legitimize their hate when you give them due process, when you give them a platform. You see what I'm saying? This is the mindset of the people that are going after Trump. This is why I can't pick that side, even if Donald Trump is. I mean, okay. I mean, Donald Trump is your president, okay? He is, he's not crazy, but elements of him are definitely crazy, like nuts. Not the totality of it, but elements of him are just, yeah. I mean, he's an authoritarian. Just so all you know, he is an authoritarian. He is part of what I call the culture authoritarians. He's the head honcho of the culture authoritarians. He's not good on me. Doesn't fit with me. But the only difference between him and the social authoritarians is that the social authoritarians, if they consolidate power, then they have the whole show. They have everything. They have the culture, they have society, they have the markets, they have everything. They would have total and complete control. God help us if that happens. And it's very close to possibly happening. If this guy wins, if they win in 2020, if the Republicans win in 2020, they only have the federal government, and they still don't even fully have the bureaucracy. They'll never fully have the bureaucracy. And the social authoritarians will still have everything else. And they're not going away. And they have no reason to believe that in 4 years they won't actually be able to finish it all. So all the advantages, I mean, it's only a matter of time before they win. I mean, I hope you guys understand that there isn't really anything stopping them. The only thing you can do is slow them down at this point. But they've won. Everybody signed up for this authoritarian garbage. And the proof is in just how much the right has become the left. Their groups have begun to circle their own wagons, and their hucksters and shysters are applying the same social authoritarian tactics that are only ascribed to the left. That's why they're the cultural authoritarians. But they use culture as their reference point for the morality that they use to condemn you. Their culture, America, patriotism, Israel, that kind of stuff. Whereas the social authoritarian uses diversity, justice, equality. So those are their nations, their cults, whatever. Now, for many people, those words mean something much more profound and nuanced and non-authoritarian. And unfortunately, those voices are blotted out. It's kind of, the conservatives have thoughtful voices. I may not necessarily agree with them, just like I don't necessarily agree with even the actual SJWs, the non-authoritarian SJWs. I just can go along with them, and I can talk to them. And I agree with many things that they say. Just like conservatives, I agree with many things that I talk to with conservatives. I find a lot of common ground with conservatives as well. But those people that I find common ground with in the conservative side are small, just like the SJW. It's a small group. Because they've been drowned out. The subtle thinkers, the nuanced thinkers, the non-authoritarian thinkers, the ones that don't cling rigidly to a certain assumption, they're just blotted out. Nobody wants to listen to anybody, a leader, say, well, I'm not sure. But in all honesty, all of us should only ever say, I'm not sure. That would be the best vote of confidence that we can get. Well, I'm not sure. I think this is good reason to believe this, but I'm not sure, because none of us has enough data. None of us. And anyway, so watching this whole thing out is a little maddening, because and everybody, you're trying to get the details so you can get some sort of legitimization of the wickedness of your choice. I have a wickedness of my choice. I face my wickedness. Choosing Donald Trump, although I'll never vote for him or anybody else for that matter, or at least not that I could foresee. I'm not totally cut off to the possibility I might vote in some situation, but as far as I can see, I have no interest whatsoever in voting for anyone. But I'm certainly rooting for them, for the Republicans, for Donald Trump, knowing that there's things that he's doing that are very troubling. Well, the biggest problem for me with Donald Trump is what's happening with the rounding up of all these human beings. I don't know how many people they're rounding up, and I know it's done before Donald. He's not the first person to do it, but he certainly stepped up the effort. And I guess I'm not going to vote for him. I'm not going to be complicit. That's why I can't vote. That's why I cannot vote for the Republicans. I cannot vote for Donald Trump. I cannot cast a vote that would actually support that. But at the same hand, I cannot, in all good conscience, wish for the DNC to take hold if I'm right. And I believe I'm right, because I am done doubting myself. I have been predicting some things for well over 8-9 years. I've been predicting where this, what at the time it was just social justice. There had been some reference to SAWJW, with more just social justice, and so I was referring to them, and I saw the dangers, but because I saw good things, and I still, as you go through. Anyway, so yeah. So it's difficult for me to look into this abyss. That's why it's difficult for me to talk about this and cover this. But do my best and not try to get too angry. And I just can't. I can't cheer on Donnie. I can't cheer on Republicans, because I fully believe if the roles are reversed, if the Republicans had all of the power and they were consolidating, I'd be rooting for the social authoritarians right now. I'd be like, well, listen, they're crazy, but they don't have the power to do anything about it. But if they're in power there, because of their weak position, they will favor more liberal government. See, that's the thing. Liberal as in less likely to want to cut your throat because you said something bad. The weak side is always in favor of the liberal. I mean, it's all it is. There's no ideational goodliness to any of us there on that front. So, yeah. All right. And here it is. And this is all just, none of this means anything. All this means is it has the bullhorn. And who is able to, well, who has the bullhorn. And if the bullhorn, like for instance, for the Democrats, for the most part, their bullhorn is just not hitting too close to home. It's like that the bullhorn is declaring stuff that's obviously just not true, at least my belief. And now the bullhorn is maybe honing in on something that people are more likely to believe. So they need this number to get to this 52% that want him to say they'll be sad if he leaves office. This is one poll. Remember, all this is all one poll. I don't know any of the samplings or anything, but this is cited from Daily Caller, and I'm not going to get into details because that's not the point of mostly why I'm covering these stories. So 45% want him removed from office, according to this poll. It's from the Los Angeles Times, and they need that number. They need basically 60+% of the population to want Trump removed from office for the Democrats to feel bold enough to do it. But I think the Democrats would be willing to push it if they thought that they could get the Republicans to go along. Now the question is, I guess the question, but basically is, how many Republicans are basically willing to out themselves completely as being part of the, because many of them are part of the, I guess you could say, the controlled opposition. So you'll find that out. But this whole process has nothing to do with truth, nothing to do with anything. It isn't a matter of whether the president did something that's impeachable or not, removable or not. The impeachment process is a political process. It's not. It's actually not a trial. I mean, until you get to the Senate, and then you have more legal restrictions that come into being. But until then, this is all political theater. It's like if you have the will, you can indict a ham sandwich, and you can certainly impeach a president for any number of things. If you really knew all the things that presidents do on a daily basis, almost all of them probably do at least an impeachable offense a month, if not a day, if not 2 or 3 a day. Who knows? It's just a matter of do you have an inner circle that you can trust to keep your secrets? And Donnie has never had that. That's the only thing. All that you're hearing is just that Donnie doesn't have people he can trust. He's not doing anything that anybody else isn't doing. I can almost 100% guarantee that this is a kabuki theater. This is not real. Well, the facts are not real, they're not unreal. They're not real. They're irrelevant. That's more like it. The facts are irrelevant. What is relevant only is the degree to which they can manipulate the American public to believe whatever they want them to believe. Because nobody's telling you the truth, folks. No one. No one has any, and not even, the people on the right, the people on the left. When I mean the right and the left, I'll say the state. I'll just say that. People on the right and the left. Oh, and then there's this story. Child caught in custody gender battle chooses maleness. That's my headline. 7-year-old. Oh no. Oh, okay. Here's the title. 7-year-old whose mother tried to force a gender transition chooses to attend school as a boy. The Blaze. See mine. See how mine is. You see how mine is. See how my headline is. I tried to actually did this on purpose to write like something that was somewhat non-abrasive in a way, but got the point across without being too sugarcoaty, socially authoritarianly. And their title. This is meant to make you mad. It's meant to tick you off. And this does this now hold on. 7-year-old whose mother tried to force a gender transition. They want you to be angry. She tried to force a gender transition. She actually did. I mean, it's not that they're not saying something that's not true, but they're putting this headline out here. And this is meant to hurt you, man. This is meant to make you feel anger and hate. And shut up, lefties, because you do it too. I have stories here from your sites too that do this crap. And so I think this is a real problem. that adults should talk about in an adult way with one another, without adding the unnecessary stigma that you're adding against transgenderism in general. This is like whiteness. I hate that word. I hate that. Whiteness shouldn't be whiteness. You talk about white eliteness. That's what you're really talking about, and that exists. It still does, but it's not really amongst most whites anymore. It's really fading, and yeah. But it was legit a thing, and I remember when it was seriously legit a thing, and I had to. It was weird coming to realize that you were in something like that as you emerged out of it. It was a weird process. I went through that process in my 30s. A lot of people, they're like people in their 50s. I'm in my 50s, and they have this idea that somehow that people in their 50s are like trapped in the 70s and 80s. It's like we were paying attention in the 90s and the aughts and the teens. We went through all that crap. I don't know. It's like people imagine that like you stop interacting and taking in the newness of the world when you get to a certain age. You idiots. We went through all that. We know it better than you. Way better. So, I mean, in aggregate, there's plenty of young people that know it better than me. I'm just saying in aggregate. So, James Younger, the 7-year-old this is from The Blaze, the 7-year-old at the heart of the Texas transgender custody battle that incited a national debate that you helped incite. You turned this story into a wedge issue, this is a divorce letter too, by the way, Glenn. This is a divorce letter. You're telling all these people, we don't even care about you. We're done with you. We want a divorce. This is a war letter, man. This is war. A Facebook post from the Save James account run by friends and family reads, "Going to school. This is what it looks like when James gets to choose." Oh, come on. You're using your boy. I mean, I'm not going to blame the father too much. I mean, I'm not going to blame him. I can see how he could easily get swept in this. And I don't know how much he uses, if this is just an isolated. Now, if this is something that he habitually does, then that might be a problem. But I'm not going to get too much on this. But I would say in general, I'd want less focus and less pictures, less noise around my son, not more. That would be me. I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to judge you too harshly, Jeffrey Younger, because I definitely, I'm a father, and I know that I don't always make the best decisions in life either. I will say this though, Jeffrey, if you ever happen to hear this video by some weird winky dink, I don't blame you at all for standing up for your son and preventing something like that from happening. Like that's insane. That should not be allowed. You should not be allowed to give children this transgender, this chemical stuff. There's way too many things we don't know to go ahead and rush. I mean, that alone, there's so many things we don't. What are the long-term effects when you start to give children drugs that alter their very endocrinology? Like, what kind of long-lasting health effects do you even know? Does anyone even want to ask these questions? Now, see, we need to talk about this like adults in ways in which we're not using it as a basically what Glenn Beck is doing here. As I refer to this as a vehicle of power. That's all this is. This is not something personal, transgenders. I want you to understand. This isn't personal. You are simply a convenient vehicle of power. And the ultimate power that they're aimed at is the same power that's also using you. They're using you as a dagger that they're throwing at the left. I'll say that in quotes. Their perception of what they call the left. What the Glenn Beck crowd calls the left. What you call the right. which is your terms, which are idiotic because they don't describe any of you. You're all right-wingers. You're all like real far right-wing authoritarians. Like really, you're all authoritarians. You all have little czars marching in your head, giving you orders. All of you. And what Glenn Beck is doing here is taking somebody who okay, if you look transgendered, and most I don't there are plenty of I almost said most, I have no idea. I don't want to speak in areas that I don't know nothing, but transgenders, there have been plenty of transgenders who you can tell they're transgender. You can tell they look between states. They're like half male, half female. You know, whether it's a female who's transitioned to a male or male transitioned to a female, and they're easy to distinguish. So they're like easily, like they don't fit into any of our classifications, and so they're easy to mark out. It's easy to create a target around a visual that is distinguishable, like noticeably distinguishable from the rest of the group. And you perceive that their appearance, especially if you perceive that their appearance is because of a choice that you deem to be some form of deviancy, abnormality, mental illness. So that's an easy group for you to trigger feelings of unsafety and mistrust in others with. And so that's how they're used. It's an easy, rather than having an adult conversation, Glenn Beck is just going to participate in the crayon wars. That's what these are. This is written in crayon. This is so moronic and idiotic. Just idiotic. And it's not funny. I mean, if you're going to be idiotic, at least be funny. I mean, come on, buddy. You're not even funny. That's the thing. Wow. Well, this might end up being a long show, but hey, you know what? That is what it is. You know, I think maybe it's just the pictures or the stories that I happen to pick that got thoughts going in my head. I'm not sure. This is Thursday. I still got one more show to do if I do it tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get to the candy. And we're at Newsalite, and we're at the lead for Newsalite. But let's go to the Daily Herald for the Newsalite. We're gonna click on. Ooh, look at that! Hey, wait a second. We've got a problem. You know what? I screwed up. I did create a Newsalite Herald. I can assure you. Must not have put it. Oh, there it is. Good. Oh, lucky. See, I just didn't put it in the category. I do that sometimes. Forget to put it in the right category, so it's not in the right category, so it didn't show up. But there it is. Newsalite, news at a glance. And this is the teaser image. Oh, you know what? I forgot to create a teaser image for this one. I would not have picked this as the teaser image, I can assure you. Let's see, where would the teaser image be? Which one would I have picked? Which one? I think I probably... Oh, wait, no, don't laugh at that. That's, ooh. I would pick this. This would have been the teaser image. So, there you know. That bothers me. I did do the teaser image for this, but there you have it. And you got a little teaser there, too. So what a ho-hum. Hum-drum-dum. That sucks. Are the Braves about to be scalped over collusion? MLBPA head interprets Braves GMFA comments as sign of collusion. Investigation coming from Sporting News. Man, the Atlanta Braves, man. They dominated. They crushed. And then the Washington Nationals ended them. Wait, did they lose to the Nationals? All right, come on, Ducky. Let's go look and see. MLB playoffs. All right, let's see. 2019 MLB playoffs. Come on, somebody enter something. All right, let's see what we got there. There we go. All right, there we go. We've got the Braves and the Cardinals. then the wait, I thought the Braves beat the national. Oh no, oh man, no, who won? So 2019 NLCS. Let's see. Okay, don't give me your music. So there it is. So the Cardinals beat the Braves. So the Braves went out in the first go around. That sucks for them, man. Sucks for them. So not only did they had this great season, unexpected great season, and then they yanked it. The Washington Nationals came from nowhere, and well, they were hot at the end of the season, but they started off like 15-30 or some number like that. Philly, that's my team. And they started off really good, and then they faded and ended up 800 and missed the playoffs. Made me lose a few more hairs. I don't like them. I'm upset with them. MLBPA head interprets Braves GM's FA comments as that's free agent comments as sign of collusion. So the statements made by Braves GM Alex, that guy, called in to question the integrity of the entire free agent system. He added that the union will begin an investigation into the comments. The clear description of club coordination is egregious. So, in his statement, every day you get more information, and we've had time to connect with 27 of the clubs. Obviously, the Astros and Nationals being in the World Series, they were tied up. But we had a chance to get a sense of what the other clubs are going to look to do in free agency, who might be available in trades. Okay. Every day you get more information, and we've had time to connect with 20. So basically what they're saying is, okay, so as we thought, you guys are talking to one another all the time, and that means that when you decide, hey, you know what, this player, we need to make an example of this guy, he's making waves, he mentioned things. He said things I don't like. Maybe we make him disappear. Maybe we Kaepernick him. We Kaepernick him. Yeah, Kaepernick. He was Kaepernicked. I think that's where the word comes from, I think. But it would be weird if it didn't come from him, though. If, like, Colin Kaepernick got Kaepernicked, but it actually came from a guy named Gary Kaepernick. And Gary Kaepernick was a chess champion, 1932 chess champion. And he was protesting the election of FDR, and he said that FDR is a socialist. And he's gonna try to stack the Supreme Court with justices, turn us into a socialist state. And then they were like, oh, what did you say? Are you an American and you called the president a socialist? And then Gary Kaepernick was sent off, which is like ironic now, because Colin Kaepernick is probably protesting Gary Kaepernick. It's weird. I made all that up, of course, but it would have been cool if it was true, right? Wouldn't it have been? Yeah, you wanted it to be true. That new lady with Keanu is not new at all. Yeah, hold on for a second. I want to do something here. All right, we're back on. Let's hopefully. I think I was getting a little bit of feedback there, and hopefully I cleaned that up. Keanu Reeves. Okay, so wait, hold on. Let's back up. Come on, let's get this in the shot. Let's get there. We go. That new lady with Keanu is not new at all. Well, this is the one I think I got a scoop on, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have a scoop on this. I could be wrong. Keanu Reeves has been dating Alexandra Grant for years, claims a source from Celebrity Insider. Excerpt. Keanu Reeves surprised fans this past weekend when he made a red carpet appearance with his longtime friend and collaborator, Alexandra Grant, and the two smiled and held hands as they posed for pictures. This was the first time in his 35-year career that Reeves had showed any PDA on the red carpet, but a source claims that their relationship wasn't a secret, and the couple has been dating for years. According to Us Weekly, Reeves and Grant have been an item since at least the summer of 2017. Okay, summer of 2017, ladies and gentlemen, all right? but the couple chose to avoid going public until the LA CMA Art and Film Gala in Los Angeles on Saturday. Now, this is me. I wrote this part. Ready? Editor's note from Newsalike. That's me. Might be further back than that. Here's an announcement on their joint appearance from 2016. Alexander Grant and Keanu Reeves conversation and book signing. Art catalogs. 5900 Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90036, February 21st. Now, come on. What'd I say? What'd I say? Hold on. Let's get it. Come on, Ducky. Give it to me. You better bring it up. Don't let me down. Here we go. Ready? Boom. Right there. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. See that? That's breaking news here on Freeqo Talks. They've been dating probably since at least 2016. And there they are, together. It's documented, man. That's documented. Exclusive here on Freeqo Talks, featuring Freeqo Talks, and that's what it is. So much of a hullabaloo for this young lady, and she's younger than me, so I can call her young lady, even though she's really not that much younger. I'm 51 and she's 46, I think. And the thing is, like, people are like, she looks, I don't know, judging her looks and all that crap. And they're like, well, she's 46, but she looks older than 46. And, she does. I think she does look older than 46. But, even though she does look older than 46, I would guess that she was, 56. Maybe even 60. A young-looking 60. I could believe that. But she looks cool. I think she looks totally cool. And she has a very expressive, intelligent face. I think she's very attractive. I think she's very cool looking. Of course, I have like a wide range of aesthetics, I will say, yeah, well, I'm not talking in a sexual way. I'm just talking about just purely like, I can appreciate Keanu Reeves also looks awesome. It looks great. I don't want to bone either one of these, so this is not a boning thing like smash or pass. It's nothing like that. It's just the aesthetic, pure aesthetic. She's cool looking. She's a face that I would enjoy looking at. If I was having a conversation and I saw her face, I'd be happy to look at that face and talk to that person. Same with this buddy, man. This guy, you can have me, baby. You know you want me, Keanu. I'm just kidding. I do not want to get romantically involved with Keanu Reeves. Don't ever tell him that I want to get romantically involved with him, because I don't. But I think she's cool looking. I think she's neat looking. And I think it's neat. Did I say neat looking? What the heck? Oh, gosh. Oh, I will flagellate myself after the show over that one. That's at least 3 flagellations. So far, I'm up to 17. Yesterday was a good day. I only had to do 46. 17 is, I'm probably going to go past 46 today. Actually, I just got 2 more right there. Anyway. Good on you, buddy. Honestly, I got to say, it would be difficult for me to... I'm married, happily married. My wife's actually older than me by a year. So I'm out of the picture. But honestly, I can't see that I would really want to be involved with a young person. Keanu's my age. He's 50-ish. So I can't say that I'd want to be involved with a young person. There's too many... I don't know. Yeah, there's too many things that at least for me, I would want to be able to share with someone that was rooted physically in the scope of life, what you're facing at that period when you're in your 40s. It starts in the 50s. I mean, I don't know what it's like after the 50s, but yeah, I think for them on the main that it's difficult to find. I mean, other than pure, if it's just pure about the bone-ins, but I'm talking about if you want to have someone fully in your life, and this isn't like, you know, older people are better than younger people. I mean, honestly, I think that on the main, I think a young woman would be overwhelmingly bored with me as I would be of her. Not because she's better or I'm better, just we're different. I think there's a lot of truth to people running with people that are more their age. But if he had a beautiful young lady on his arm, I wouldn't be sweating him or judging him at all. I don't want to say that either. But still, for me, I think it's cool when maybe it's a, you know, maybe he's an act, but he has a brand of authenticity, and this fits his brand. So if you ever get found out for not being the authentic that you seem to be, dude, you're over. But until then, Keanu Reeves is my freaking dad, okay? I should name this Keanu Reeves as my dad. It wouldn't have made any sense, but then later you'd understand. It's like, oh yeah, in a way he's everyone's dad. He's everyone's dad. You're like your wingman dad. He's the wingman dad. Not many wingman dads out there, but I mean, even if you're older than him, he's still your wingman dad. You know it. You can't dad like him. Even if he doesn't have kids, I don't think he does have kids. He's still wingman dad. He's the dad of dads, man, without even trying. He just is. You know it's a fact. HBO blackout can't stop Dish from gaining. I just thought, I don't know what. I just thought this was so funny, so humorous. I love it. I have no idea who's who, like who the evil one is, who the good one is. Maybe they're both corpo stato entities, so that's what they are. So I have no idea, but still, it still amuses me that Dish gains 148,000 TV subscribers in Q3 despite continuing HBO blackout from Variety. Who needs HBO? Well, they don't have Game of Thrones, so who needs HBO? And actually, after season 8, no one, even if they had Game of Thrones, wouldn't matter. Dish Network managed to buck the cord-cutting trend in the third quarter that has afflicted the rest of the pay TV sector, reeling in 148,000 net TV subscribers in the period. The gains at Dish come even as the provider's satellite TV and Sling TV services have been without Warner Media's HBO since October 2018 following a dispute over carriage terms. Dish in particular sorely benefited from AT&T's disastrous Q3 results for its pay TV biz, in which the telco's DirecTV, it's just everyone owns everything, and well, not everyone, a tiny number of people own everything, in which the telco's DirecTV and other video businesses lost a whopping 1.4 million subscribers. One interpretation of Dish's results is that the utter meltdown at DirecTV in Q3 inevitably benefited Dish Network. Where else were they going to go? I don't know what happened. I'm not going to check it out. This is the story of all the stories. This is the story that's going to get this. This is probably not going to make it as one of the standalone videos that emerges from this show, because this story is just there just to see HBO just get it in the face. The face, buddy. I don't care what the reason for it is. I don't care. HBO gets it in the face. In the face. And that's what I celebrated, ladies and gentlemen. I did that. I don't even have scruples about it at this point. I'm not bothered by it at all. Alright, so let's take a little bit of a teaser here. This is what we're going to be looking at before we go to break here. We've got this story. We've got this little Bodie story coming up there. And we got the AT&T's back in the story again. These are the things that are coming up on the other side of the show. This is where we're going to take our break. We're at about the halfway point, and we will come back and go over our top stories from our three sites, pioneeringnews.com, newsfire.tv, and newsalike.com. Oh my. There we go. I had to get my little thing ready. There we go. Let's get her situated here. Pondered and phlebotomied up. Now that we are all phlebotomied up, are you phlebotomied up? Have you had a phlebotomy recently? Have you thought about having phlebotomies done? Have you performed phlebotomies on others? And here we are with some good news, ladies and gentlemen. I have some good news. Power and go in less than 10 minutes. 10-minute charging for electric cars may be on the way. This is from Futurity. So, excerpt from there. Electric vehicle owners may soon be able to pull into a fueling station, plug their car in, and in 10 minutes drive out with a fully charged battery, according to a team of engineers. A team of engineers, ladies and gentlemen, not an engineer. And you know what? Whoever wrote this article, I just want to say, listen, thank you so much for not writing according to Dr. Kenneth Volkalansk of La Putz in the region of Siberia, where the tundra is connected to the controlling adjutant professor, Dr. Heinrich Falkenmeyer, and the adjutants of the adjutants, and you know all this stuff. You guys have seen these stories. You know what I'm talking about. Just said a team of engineers. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. We demonstrated that we can charge an electrical vehicle in 10 minutes for a 200 to 300 mile range. Says names. I'm not reading names anymore, everybody. Chair of Mechanical Engineering. I'm not doing this. Okay, this guy. Says this guy. Scientist. And we can do this maintaining 2,500 charging cycles, or the equivalent of 500,000 miles of travel. See, that's so much easier, says the scientist. The researchers had previously developed their battery to charge at 50 degrees Fahrenheit in 15 minutes. Charging at higher temperatures would be more efficient, but long periods of high heat also degrade the batteries. Fast charging is the key to enabling widespread introduction of electric vehicles. Did you write that? Did you write that? Did you think that? That's wonderful. By the way, water is wet. Yeah. Anyway, this is a good story, though. This is wonderful. This is bringing this more into the possibilities, and I totally support this. But I'm going to beat the dead horse and say, yes, we need to have this. We need to have the open source and on the ground, and people being able to do this here, now, and everywhere. And not just going out and buying what Amazon sells us, but actually making our own batteries, our own stuff. That's what we need to be doing. So that's what I want to see. I want to see these stories inspire that kind of stuff, that kind of action. There's people doing stuff, by the way. By the way, I'm thinking of tomorrow's show being a guest show. I actually have somebody on to go through some of the stories with me. We'll see. I think the Friday show is probably going to be different than the Monday through Thursday show, and I got to think about what that might be. Anyway, this thing right here. This is as I've said before, we are really focused on battery tech. Battery tech is really, really important. The ability to convert, especially if you can convert what you call a renewable resource. A renewable resource, I know it has their political connotations, but a renewable resource is simply something that, like the sun, it's always going to be there. It's never not going to be there. I don't want to hear your science mumbo jumbo. It's always going to be there. Stop it. The universe is benign. Okay, so the sun's going to be there, wind's going to be there. If you could, like wave energy, water's always going to be there. Don't tell me anything different. Stop it. Don't. Anyway, so this is very important. The ability to be able to convert power to portable containers that are mobile, power on the go, self-sustainability. Yeah, this is where it's at. I bet you the Taliban have their own. I bet you they're quite advanced. I bet you they know a lot about solar arrays and packs and all kinds of stuff. Do you? Do I? Let's get to the next story. China challenges soldiers to hone unmanned assaults. Chinese armed police force launches intelligent unmanned system challenge. This is from China Mail. Remember, China Mail is Chinese government. Remember, Chinese government is socialism with Chinese characteristics, so let's keep a focus on what it is that we're talking about. We're not talking about benignity here. The competition rules of anti-terror assault 2019. I just want you to remember, whenever you see this terror. I hate that word, terror. Nobody should ever allow governments to use words like terrorist. They should never have power over words like that, because everybody's a terrorist to a government if the other person doesn't like the government. Even if the government is a dick. Pardon my French, but Chinese government, like, do you know who are terrorists to the Chinese government? Christian pastors in underground hovels. They're terrorists. Just remember that. That works the other way too. We put a lot of people in that terrorist list. Maybe that was the wrong word to begin a conversation. Terrorist, subhuman, disposable, dead-end vermin. Think about, like, I don't take a side necessarily with Palestine and Israel. I mean, I'm always for the Jewish people. In the people, not the state. Don't I separate the two? But I don't have a particular vindictiveness against the Israeli state as compared to I do many other states. It's I would put it in the thug category, definitely. It's hard for me to assess the Palestinians because they're in such a desperate strait. I can't really say as I blame them for being given over to the ruthless authoritarian groups that have commanded them as leaders. So they don't have, I don't know who and what they are because they don't really have a chance to show who they are, and I don't really feel like anyone has any kind of moral claim to land at all. No one. I don't believe in human beings doing the whole blood and soil thing in general. So, and that's what that is. That's a form of blood and soil. Whether it's the Israelis blood and soiling or whether it's the Palestinians blood and soiling, that's what it is. There's a lot of blood and soiling, way more than the Nazis blood and soiled. And I don't think it's good. I think it's weird. But it's the norm. It's how human beings have mostly been. But I think we have more than enough capacity to be able to overcome these atavistic traits. And I'm not morally judging the past for being in these situations and accepting these modes, but we don't need to stay in them. And people like Chairman Z, they want to make sure that we stay firmly well within these parameters that allow these goons to do what goons do. So the competition rules of Anti-Terror Assault 2019 Intelligent Unmanned System Challenge was issued by the Equipment Department of the Chinese People. Come on now, you know that sounds funny. By the Equipment Department of the Chinese People Armed Police Force on November 5th. The registration of the challenge has already started. Okay, ready? We're going to do the equipment department there. This is the equipment department of the Chinese People's Armed Police.
No, we want tools that work themselves. Yes. Work themselves. Yes, exact. Really important part. Work themselves. For national pride and security, of course. Yep. Totally. It's all about that. It's all about that, baby. You know, China number one. Come on, you guys. This is the equipment department. We need you guys to come through. We need you to design tools that work themselves. Can you do that? You gonna do that then? Oh, great. Now we'll make sure everything is running smooth. All right, see ya. Yo, they gone? Yeah, they gone. Yo, Fortnite? No, man, Fortnite, man.
No, we don't need no Fortnite, man. No, man. No, we're gonna go Overwatch.
What? Yeah, we're going to Overwatch, baby. We're bringing it back.
Anyway, that's the true story. That's how I see it. That's the equipment department of the Chinese people are in place. They're like, they just basically found a way not to work. I'm kidding, of course, but actually, it's far more sinister than that. But I just thought that I would slide you in with a little bit of an attempt at a joke. I'm not a comedian, so I don't want to claim any. I'm not. No, I'm gonna go home now. I'm gonna write Chairman Z a letter, and I'm gonna say, please, Chairman Z, when you rule the American market square, and I'm no longer able to see Winnie the Pooh grace my screen in any way, shape, or form. Please go fuck yourself. Okay. In order to discover and promote the transformation of advanced equipment technology into combat effectiveness, the Equipment Department of the PAP plans to hold a series of intelligent unmanned system challenges around the theme of anti-terror assault. The competition is sponsored by the Equipment Department. We want them to work themselves. Of the PAP, and is jointly hosted by the PAP Engineering University, Ordnance Science and Research Academy of China, and China Ordnance Industry, whatever. I'm not reading all that crap. The competition selected the direction of unmanned ordnance disposal, aiming to provide a communication platform for enterprises and research institutes in the field of unmanned ordnance disposal, test the true level of existing equipment technology, and guide the rapid development of domestic unmanned ordnance disposal technology. Do you understand what unmanned ordnance disposal technology means, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? Hold on. You know what? I'm going to step away for a second here. Hold on. Just bear with me. Because I just want to see something. I just want to see. Don't move it. Don't move a muscle, folks. I am doing important research and development with a product and service that is designed to, well, here we go. It's designed to just do a little bit of I got this email from someone, and you're like, yo, check this out. Someone sent this from me. Yeah, from the future. This is in regarding that China story. I don't know what it means, but apparently, something like this is happening. This is it's from 2029 AD. What happened? There can't be. It's like a tornado or something. Looks pretty bad. I just think they had the fires. Whoa, 3 human. What? Dude, that didn't happen. Hold on, this is messing with my head, man. What is this? I got to go forward here. Holy! What is Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I think you see my point. I think we got this registered. What we're looking at here is I'm in the wrong place here. Let's get back there. Back to the music. I'm sorry. So there you go. These are unmanned ordnance. They're killing machines in China. They have. Let's just say that they have considerably less restraint on their ability to deploy these products and services, if you will, to the general population. So we're going to do, let's do China Police State Uyghurs. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. Let's see. China's police state goes global. Here we go. Let's just check this out. China has turned Xinjiang into a police state like no other. Totalitarian determination and modern technology have produced a massive abuse of human rights. Okay, I'm not going to read that. All right. Oh, okay, you're not going to let me read the article because you're a... Okay, Hussein shared that message on a WeChat social messaging group in 2015 where he was 23. Born in York in a town in southern Xinjiang, Hassan had moved to the provincial capital, Urumqi, to sell jade and shoes and to learn more about Islam. He described himself to Darren Byler, an anthropologist from the University of Washington, as a Sufi wanderer. Ooh, man, those are one of the most hated of all the Muslim groups. A pious man with a wife and small daughter who prayed 5 times a day in disapproval of dancing and immodesty. The Sufis are, I would say, probably the most liberal of all the groups. So the Sufis don't have a problem with anybody so much as, well, I mean, there are militant Sufis. There's militant everythings. Every group, well, even the best of the groups, have militant everythings. But generally, the Sufis are the most liberal. They're definitely the most liberal. So, okay, so you don't want to share your little knowledge with me, economist, and you can go bite a butt. If there was a butt for you to bite, I would want you to bite it. And I would want you to video it so everybody can see that you bit the butt. All right, let's see if MSN gives me a little bit more sugar. Can't believe I want MSN, but there I am. All right. The Communist Party's dragnet in Xinjiang has swept an estimated 1 million ethnic Uyghurs and other mostly Muslim minorities into vocational educational centers that numerous studies and reports have exposed as harsh internment camps. For those who manage to get out and settle overseas, the search for... Okay, I'm looking for other things here. So... together they point to a systemic effort to infiltrate diaspora communities, recruit informants, sow mistrust, and stifle criticism of the regime. A barrage of messages. Shir Muhammad Hassan managed to get to Australia in 2017. Having secured refugee status, he thought he was safe. Little more than a year later, the sinister messages began to arrive. I hope your family already told you that I have been searching for you. Read this first. Read the first. More text followed, in turn demanding the 32-year-old turn over dossiers about his life, and then came persistent requests to arrange a time to get to know each other better. I told you to send me a brief introduction of yourself, but you didn't. He said in local Uyghur dialect, punctuated with a smattering of Mandarin Chinese, adding, "We should sit down and have a chat." Yeah, they've totally, every part of their lives is monitored and tracked everywhere they go. They did the social credit system, which the Chinese are now doing on the general population. They did that for, I mean, the Chinese, I'm telling you folks, I'm warning you, these folks are not messing around. These folks are truly national socialists. Socialism with Chinese characteristics. They are militant nationalist socialists. I don't mean the Chinese people, although overwhelming majority of Chinese people will go with this, and honestly, we would too if we lived there and we grew up in this. Almost all of us would. So I'm not judging the Chinese. That is what it is, but it's still not. Even if I'm not judging you, I'm not going along with your plan. Like I'm totally resisting Chairman Z, the Grand Poo. I'm totally resisting the Grand Poo. I ain't playing. I'm totally resisting this. And anyway, so that's just a little bit. I'll just stop right there and go back here. And that is enough. I have all kinds of stuff about China to share with you as we do this show, though. So that's just a little bit of a teaser there. So we're going to go to, oh boy, you know where we're going next, right? Oh, this is an interesting story. We're going to go into the news fires now, ladies and gentlemen, so brace yourselves. And as you can see, this is Did I make? Oh no, that's not the. See, that's not the teaser image. Remember, this is the teaser image. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get to it in this segment. We're gonna get to it. I'm gonna reveal this teaser image. There's like another teaser. I did that. So we got the tariff pause teased after. I remember that was in there. I wrote this title, but still, I tell you the truth. I did not remember this. Tariff pause teased after latest trade war tete-a-tete. China says Beijing, U.S. to lift tariff hikes as talks advance, from Washington Times. And then an excerpt from it. Prospects appear to have brightened for a preliminary breakthrough in the U.S.-China trade war after the two sides agreed to reduce some punitive tariffs on each other's goods as part of an initial agreement. A Chinese spokesman announced the development Thursday as talks on ending the trade war progressed, a development that triggered a rally in U.S. stock markets. The agreement came during talks aimed at working out details of a Phase 1 deal that was announced October 12th. Financial markets have been rattled by reports that China was pushing for tariffs to be lifted, which posted the prospect of a breakdown in talks. Negotiators agreed to a phased cancellation of tariff hikes if talks progress, said in a Commerce Ministry spokesman Jiao Feng. So, there's a possibility here of the tariffs at least being temporarily paused, and what that would do to the markets for both China and for the U.S. And the U.S. would be not as aided as the Chinese would. It would help the Chinese market better than it would the U.S. market. But it would help the U.S. market, to be sure, in the short term. I'm not sure in the long term. I do not believe that you should be doing deals with nationalist socialists, which is what the Chinese are. I think that you should be decoupling from China, not coupling. You should be separating from China. You should not be looking to enable this power any more than you already have, because this power is dangerous. China is absolutely. They want their cut, which I mean, I don't blame them. I'm not more. I want to make it clear, all the things I say about China, I'm not in any way, shape, or form judging the Chinese people, giving them a moral approbation or anything. I'm just saying that the model that they've chosen, this extremely authoritarian model, is highly unfavorable and disadvantageous to huge swaths of people. And it certainly, if this ends up being the leading market trendsetter for the world, then our lives will all be significantly diminished from what they've been. Our ability to experience creativity and exploration will be significantly diminished from what it is now. I can assure you, this is not a game. This isn't a joke. This is the reality of power kind of thing. This isn't about ideations. This is just about, this is what will happen if China is the one that sets the tone for the rest of the world. And I hope to show that over the course of these shows. That's just part of what I hope to show through these shows. So I'm of a mixed bag here. I'm not really. I'm kind of hoping that there is no deal, but I think I'm a small voice that not many people want to listen to. I mean, I think I have one viewer so far for this show. So, you do the math. Of course, this I'm not doing any kind of promotions for this just yet. So, anyway, I only have 350 subs on this iState channel, and it hasn't been active for a while. So, I'm an ether somewhere. Maybe it'll be preserved, maybe not. It said, don't do it. Don't decouple from this. If you really want to stop fascism, do not be exchanging with China. Back away from China. China leads us all towards fascism. All of us get led towards fascism if China is the market trendsetter. The United States, America, is, I guess you'd say, if I was going to be part of an empire, I would probably first and foremost, in terms of how I would perceive my ability to fully live the life of my choosing. And I'm not a super expert as far as scholars and whatnots. I don't have degrees, but I am very well versed in history from ancient to current. I have a pretty wide swath of at least patinas of the various periods and ages, but a lot in ancient history. And I would definitely say I would probably pick, if I had to be part of any empire in which I was not the power, I was one of the pores, and most likely I would be. Most likely all of us would be. Almost all of us who might ever even hear this show or watch this show. I'd pick the Persian Empire first. I think I'd pick the Roman Empire maybe last. I mean, not next. And on the other extreme, you know, I would not want to be part of the Assyrian Empire. I wouldn't want to be in that world. So there are various degrees of empirage, and I would put the United States Empire somewhere around the Romans. Not like the Persians. It would be better if they were like the Persians. But they're not. They're a little bit harsher than the Persians. The Persians would have been a better benevolent ruler of the world than the United States. But the Romans were not terrible, not horrible on the main, in aggregate. They were certainly horrible and terrible to certain groups. I mean, what they did in Britain was genocide. They carried out a systemic genocide of most of the Celts. I mean, it was no joke, man. It's no joke. It kind of gets papered over. So I don't want to say the Romans didn't do horrible things. They certainly did, but still, even with that, I mean, the Americans have done that too. We've genocided people too. So all empires do. But still, as empires do, you know, within its borders at least, a lot of people had opportunities to live lives of their own choosing. A lot more than, say, you would have had if the Assyrians were ruling you, or if the Soviet was. You would, honestly, on the main, you would much rather be part of the American Empire than the Soviet Empire. And you will much rather be part of the American Empire than you would the Chinese Empire. And the Chinese Empire is probably even worse than the Assyrian Empire because it has way better tech and it knows how to use it. It's been practicing. It's been getting ready. I mean, China's here already. I got news for you. They're all over this world, this America. They're entangled in everything already. It's like Hong Kong. I talked about Hong Kong it doesn't mean anything. I mean, God bless those people. My heart breaks for them. I told you they need to just come to America. We need to get a bunch of boats and get these folks. They're valuable assets, man. I'm telling you, get them. We need them. The best minds, man. We need them folks. That's intellectual capital right there, man. Go get it. Because they're screwed. China's already owns Hong Kong. They don't need an invasion. There's no invasion force needed. There's never going to be a showdown between the United States and China that's over. I mean, in terms of over Hong Kong, because Hong Kong's already done. It's already infiltrated, owned, and operated, and McDonald'sized, and the McDonald'sization of Hong Kong it's just this new McDonald's. It was American McDonald's, and now it's Chinese McDonald's. And that's the thing, it is largely Chinese McDonald's. Like China just copied most of them. But they'll start to develop their own voice soon. Don't get me wrong. They won't stay in this McDonald's mode. They'll end up developing their own particular brand. It'll be like comparable to a McDonald's thing, but it'll be unique enough that it can't even be called a McDonald's. You'll see what I mean. Hopefully you won't. Okay, so let's get to the next story in our line here, and oh my gosh, yeah, sometimes I do this. I lump stories together, and in this case, I've done that. A global index provider is putting more weight on China's stocks, raising concerns from lawmakers, CNBC. My boy Marco, man, Marco, I'm trying to figure out why Marco Rubio is such a China bulldog pit bull, but he has been one of the heavy hitters going hard against China. These people, they don't do anything because they love their country. They do it because they love their corpo stato whatever. So whatever corpo stato factions he's aligned with, the Chinese are competitors. That's what I would be willing to bet. But at any rate, I'm still glad that at least, for whatever reason, we got at least one of these idiots is pit bulling on the right enemy, so to speak. I don't really want to think of China as an enemy per se. It's just competition. It's just it's just coercive enterprise governance competition. It's been going on since we've been using this model of human governance, and it will be so long as we do. And it's what happens. It's what nation states do, especially when they're surrounded by other nation states. And whenever they see potential for growth, they have to grow, or else their enemies will take that space. Should your 401k be in Chairman Xi's bank? A global index provider is putting more weight on China stocks. Oh, I read that part. All right, let's get to Marco. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, Florida, doesn't want the pension assets of federal employees supporting companies that may work against U.S. interest. In the case of federal employees, imagine the leverage that the Chinese have if a significant amount of the retirement of servicemen and women in uniform and federal employees is invested in companies listed on Chinese exchanges that are not transparent, that do not undergo the same accounting scrutiny that others do, and many of these companies are active agents of the Chinese government. I backed away from the microphone a little bit there just to soften the blow. That's my inner Marco. I let my inner Marco out. I never do that. But I did that for you. The people. You, the people. I ripped that off, by the way, off Wolf Pit, I think his name is. Wolf Pit, he does food reviews. Check him out. I think that's the name of his YouTube channel. He is truly a heroic individual, and his videos are truly a delight. Who knows how long he'll be there? Who knows how long any of us will be there, for that matter. So at any rate, in the case of federal employees, I mean, he's right, but I mean, he's been saying other stuff. I'm not just saying that this is enough to say that he's being a little bulldoggy boy. But this is, you do not entangle with this. This is an untrustworthy agent if you fully understand their ideology. The ideology that he is taking them back into. So this isn't your uncle's China, okay? That's how recent we're talking. This isn't your uncle's China, okay? This is 2019 China. 2019 China is 2 years into the transformation. It began in 2017 with declarations. And we'll talk more about those things. And we've already talked a little bit about them already, and we'll talk more about them in other shows. But I am working on a China story, a China, I guess a little China riff thing. I've got stuff that I'll go over. It'll be a special show. And a little bit of who the Chinese are. And the purpose of the show, by the way, is not to vilify the Chinese. I don't want you to vilify I'm not trying to vilify the Chinese people, except him. Okay, he's a piece of poo. He is the grand poo. Grand poo. He's already responsible for the deaths of hundreds of, at least thousands, I'll say, within his own country. I'm sure. At least thousands. Probably this year alone. The Chinese, they say the United States that have the highest incarceration rate. And that is, I don't want to underscore the fact that that is true. And that apparently, now I don't know if this is true. I haven't really fully checked in to verify this, but I have seen multiple references suggesting that we spend more our penal system than we do on our education system. And if that is true, that's quite an indictment. But be that as it may, China, it's like how do we have a higher incarceration rate than China? Well, because China doesn't keep you. You don't stay in prison. You end up dead or in work camps where they work you to death. There's people that live in the cities that kind of live in a protected zone. They have a lot more freedoms in those cities. Some of those freedoms are about ready to be lost, but they have had a lot more freedoms in those cities. But not so much outside of those cities. Different world outside those cities. And now he is aggressively going even after the going into the provinces. You know those big cities that were built. Everybody says, you know, those ghost cities. They're gonna fill them. They're gonna be putting people in those cities. They're gonna put them all in there. It's the design. They're designed to be machines that produce what they need to produce for the Chinese empire to rule the world. Like, I'm not. I know, it sounds nuts. I know. All right, let's get to this next story. And here it is. I can go up here because the picture's bigger up here. You know what? Why don't I just do that? There you go. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. And now we get to the story, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did not, cheat and go along and read it before I got to it, because I told you I am the master of the wine, and this is the wine. The Last Supper Under a Hail of Bullet. That's my title. Jesus Revelation. Mysterious bullet hole found in Last Supper masterpiece painting. Daily Express. Excerpt. The 12-foot painting recreated by artist Lorna Maid Wadsworth, which for a decade hung behind the altar of a country church, will this weekend go on display at a gallery in Sheffield. However, when the painting was unpacked in Graves Gallery, Sheffield, a hole was found just to the right of Jesus' body. The painting, which portrayed Jesus as the model Tafari Hines, had up until its unpacking never been scrutinized close enough by church authorities and the artist to notice the hole. It was confirmed soon after that the damage was in fact a bullet hole. You know, just gonna let that sink in, pondering the measures of the metaphysical, poetical, just juxtapositions of time and reality that are unfolded within the gesture of an actual, real story. Somewhere within this lies a bullet hole. That is, it's pretty incredible. Now, I could put on my skeptic's hat. I'm not gonna do it because you in the comments. I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments about this in my head because I'm gonna imagine that I have audience. This is a name it and claim it thing. I would never do that, but just say, visualize. Law of magnetism or whatever, law of attraction crap. Alright, so law of attraction is you assume you have the massive audience. You guys, you behave yourselves in that audience. A huge audience. Somewhere in here, I know. How the heck did you actually determine that? A hole. How could you determine it was a bullet hole? I'm skeptical. But still, the fact that whether there was some scientifical way that they could determine, or they found gunpowder or whatever, but I doubt it. I'm gonna call skeptics on that, but still, because of the beautiful poetical, scientifical, metaphysical constructs contained in the idea of the Last Supper somehow being struck by a bullet. This at this moment in time, at least, this thing stretches all back from Christ to Da Vinci to now us. So it is the linchpin now. Now we have a literal material connection to Da Vinci and his spiritual metaphysical connection to the Christ that he assumed was the Christ that he painted. And all of that comes around into being through a bullet hole. There's a poem in there somewhere. I should write that poem, but I probably won't, because I'll probably forget. But if I did write the poem, I would call it this: The Last Supper Under a Halo Bullet. I think that's a beautiful headline, and if you don't like it, all of your moms. All of them. And if you have multiple moms, all of your multiple moms. Wow, that was actually not a bad story in the news fires. And now we're going to head on over to News of Lifeville. And we're going to see what our top story in News of Lifeville is here. We got the unlimited data campaign cost AT&T millions. Yeah. So AT&T isn't AT&T the HBO thing? Wait, please, which side are they on? I can't even remember. They're all conglomerations. I'm hoping that they're the HBO one. I think they're the HBO. So if they are the HBO, wait, what's that story? Which one was that? Where's that DirecTV? That's a DirecTV story. Where's that DirecTV story? Do you guys remember? If you could just write it in the comments for me, and that would be great. That would be greatly appreciated if you could do that, because I want to know which one. I don't want to get too excited here. AT&T. Which side were they on? Okay, you're not there. You're not there. What, are you actually in the page that I was already? Oh, there you are. You're right above it. Oh my gosh, you flubble. For all of you that are watching, you're like probably so frustrated. It's right above it. Just go up. I appreciate it, because when I watch videos, I see people do stuff like that. I want to smack them. I want to smack me. That is probably like 12. That's 12 flagellations. I'm already up to 67. This is gonna be I don't know if I'm gonna survive this show. HBO blackout. Okay, so Dish, where is it? Dish in particular surely benefited from AT&T's disastrous Q3 results from its pay TV bid, in which telcos DirecTV. Okay, so AT&T took it in the face here. And here. Let's just check that in. 1.4 million subs. That is like 10 million, whatever it is, 15 million a month. That's 100 and some odd plus million a year. Gone. And then this punch in the face. AT&T ordered to pay $60 million for misleading customers with unlimited data without qualification. A promotion from the Shade Room. Oh, I read that wrong. So that's the name of it. Let me read this the way. Okay, now first off, unlimited data campaign cost AT&T millions. There you go. Everybody does all this SEO crap in their titles, so they end up writing these ridiculously long titles. I know, I've been doing it, and I decided I'm just done with it. But I'm not judging you, by the way. This is I understand why you do it. You need to do it. I'm just so done with it. I don't care. I'm rebelling against SEO. Screw your SEOs. Nobody will ever see you, but I don't care. I'm gonna need, what is that now? Law of attraction. No. Law of attraction. I'm just kidding. AT&T ordered to pay $60 million for misleading customers with unlimited data without qualification promotion. From the Shade Room, excerpt. As reported by Fox Atlanta, AT&T has officially been ordered by a federal court to pay $60 million in a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission over allegations that the company misled millions of customers by charging them for unlimited data plans while reducing their data speeds. The ongoing legal battle initially began 5 years ago with a complaint that was filed back in 2014. The FTC alleged that AT&T failed to adequately inform customers that data speeds would be reduced if they went over a certain amount of data use within a billing cycle. Ooh. The practice is known as throttling and has significantly slowed online activity such as web browsing and streaming videos. The FTC alleges that AT&T began throttling data speeds as far back as 2011 for unlimited customers after they used only 2 gigabytes of data in a single billing period. This misleading practice impacted over 3.5 million customers, with some having their data speeds slowed by nearly 90%. Yeah, I mean, I experienced this. You know, I don't know about the whole net neutrality and the whole, like, fact fictions. And net neutrality is basically we're going to end certain regulations, and those regulations are really like Jenga pieces that you pull out, and you don't know if one of them is going to collapse or what. You just don't fully know the consequences of pulling crap out. You may be weakening things that actually hurt the very people that you're trying to help. So, unless you have no regulations, the idea of ending some regulations in and of itself, I would not blanket accept anymore. Understanding regulations in terms of Jenga blocks you pull out. I'd want to be a lot more circumspect in figuring out which regulations. If you can only pull some regulations, which ones? I want to make sure that they benefit the poors. We pose and give people like us the space to build our alternatives to this corpo state crap. We ought to be able to build our small scales if we so choose. And I mean, if maybe it'll only be 20-30% of us that will live outside of your corpo state fantasies. But you know, just leave us alone. We'll leave you alone. I wouldn't force anybody to choose to live in the small scale way, but you know, leave us alone. We'll leave you alone. But I'm not sure that those regulations didn't end up hurting us. I will say, you know, they say, I've seen the memes that say, you know, net neutrality, you know, we're all still alive. Everything's still going. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. I know for me that I have experienced a lot more. I mean, this is anecdotal evidence only, but I know at least for me, I would say my internet quality in terms of, especially when I'm watching videos on my phone, toward that cycle, man, I know them people throttling me. And I'm with T-Mobile, so I'm sure they're doing it too. I know they're doing it. I've noticed it a long time ago, and I feel like after the regulations were lifted, I do believe I'm getting it more. So, like, you know, the poors, so many of the poors, the conservative poors, are literally cheering that on. Just because, you know, blindly. Well, you know, one less regulation is good for me. You know, Donald Trump's going to end these regulations. Well, what regulations is he going to end? See, that's the key. Like the EPA. Like, what regulations are being ended by the EPA? What's happening with the EPA? Are you literally making it dysfunctional? And is that really a good thing? Like, have you thought about maybe, even if the EPA is politicized, and I'm not necessarily for the EPA, I'm just saying, have you thought about the ramifications of, like, just, like, maybe the EPA, whether rightly or wrongly, I would suggest wrongly, but it is what it is, maybe the EPA, if you disengage it from certain safety nets that it does provide, that there's no viable alternatives. So maybe there's actual risks involved in maybe just sledgehammering things. Maybe. Just a thought. I'm not saying that, you know, you got to listen to me. I'm just saying, you know, I got to remember when I go to the rant things to go to this screen right here. But I'm just saying, it's just a thought. It's just a suggestion that maybe you think about the Jenga effect of removing laws and regulations. I'm all for removing laws and regulations in ways in which you understand the Jenga-ness. And when you pull something out, you know you're strengthening the hand of the pores. Let me tell you who the pores are, by the way, real quick. I'll do this, and then I'll get back to the next story. This is my definition of the pores. This is just Freeqo's definition, nobody else's. This is all mine. This is totally my contrivance. Well, I'm not necessarily. I'm sure other people probably have said this very thing, even if I've never heard them say it. So I'm not saying it's an original thought. I'm just saying it's to me it's original. And the pores is essentially anyone who does not have a realistic expectation of having some degree of protection and or immunity from the ultimate authority of the coercive enterprise, which is force, and or the ability to affect the distribution of that implementation of coercive governance, which is force. If you do not have one and or the other, then you are the pores. And then there are some people, you may have some degree, like you may have the local sheriff in your back pocket. So as far as locally goes, you are not one of the pores. You are one of the citadelians. That's what I call you. There's just basically two classes for me: pores and citadelians. And if you want to call them classes, just call them differentiated power realities. And the ultimate power reality really comes down to that, as I see it. So you might be, but as soon as you step outside of your county or city or whatever, then suddenly now maybe you are one of the pores outside of that place. But then there are people that are the ultimate citadelians. These are the ones that doesn't matter where they go, they're the real citadelians. And I'm just not sure that when you have the citadelians writing the laws and the regulations, that even if you pull regulations and laws out, that I mean, who are the ones that are deciding which regulations are ended, which laws are ended? It's the citadelians. So, yeah. But blindly clap and cheer when someone says less government. Just think that necessarily is always a good thing. It's not necessarily always a good thing. Not in the sense of on the ground and how it affects the pores, which is almost all of us. Let's get to this next story. Origami bird flaps its way to intelligence for the microbots. On the way to intelligent microbots from Science Daily. Excerpt. Researchers at the Paul Scherrer Institute, PSI, at Zurich have developed a micro machine that can perform different actions. First, nanomagnets in the components of the microbots are magnetically programmed, and then the various movements are controlled by magnetic fields. Such machines, which are only a few tens of micrometers across, could be used, for example, in the human body to perform small operations. The researchers have now published their result in the scientific journal Nature. The robot, which measures only a few micrometers across, is reminiscent of a paper bird made with origami, the Japanese art of paper folding. And the picture, see the picture? This, I told you guys, this would have been the teaser image for this. I'm very bummed. I will go and change this then. I'll change this retroactively. You can do that. The robot, which measures only a few... Oh, okay, I read that. But unlike a paper structure, the robot moves as if by magic without a visible force. It flaps its wings or bends its neck and retracts its head. These actions are all made possible by magnetism. It just looks like it's just floating magically, and it's just magnetism. Hey, baby, I know it looks I know that it looks like I'm floating, baby, but that's just a magnet. So this is. Do I be a killjoy, or do I not? Do I mention the dystopian aspect of these little robots that can perform small operations inside the human body? That means that they can perform small. Oh, you could have these robots swimming throughout a human body and just like strategically hitting certain nerves that. Yeah, it might very well be happening already. That's a whole other level of torture to have nanobots going throughout your body and performing operations. That's the dystopian side. I don't know if I should have went that place or not, and I apologize for all of you wonderful human beings who thought that that was going to be a cheerful story, because it is a cheerful story. But again, it's you know, it's the battle of technology that we're in. This is the true. This is really the heart of it all. It's, I keep coming back to, it's the battle. It's the technologies. Who's going to get their hands on these technologies? Because certainly, we the poors do see nowadays. Like China's catching up with the world. It's basically caught up, and in part it's caught up because everybody's catching up. Everybody's caught up because technology. Well, that was weird. That came out of nowhere. Technology, it's so much more difficult to conceal. You can dissect, you can reverse engineer, you can get your hands on things, and you just figure things out. And it's so prevalent, so available worldwide. So everyone is advanced. The Africans, there's Africans, and no, they're different tribes, different countries, different regions. These folks, so many of them that live in these rural regions, and they have cell towers everywhere, and they're masters of, I guess you could say, distance learning, and they do everything on their phones. They do scientific research on their phones. They download 3D printing plans on their phones that enable them to build their own 3D printers. Like, that's what's happening in Africa. Like, Africa is a promising place. I mean, if I could take the heat, I would. That's gonna be the new place that everybody's gonna want to go to in Africa. Prepare yourselves, because you're gonna have immigrants. That'll be ironic. You're going to have white immigrants. You're going to have Mexican immigrants. You're going to have Chinese immigrants. Mark my words. That's what's coming. Oh, of course you're going to have black immigrants. Of course, plenty of black immigrants too. So there's that. So, Africa, prepare yourselves. The world is going to be coming to you soon. Pay attention. Get another 15 years at most. Africa is where it's at. That's a great renaissance. Great opportunities for experimentation with purposeful, integrated, designed communities. I mean, one of the things that's going over in the Middle East, with these vast deserts around them, they're able to experiment and build these fantastic new cities from scratch. This is one of the huge advantages America had over Europe for a while, the open space to redesign and reboot, start afresh. I mean, America needs a reboot. Its cities are poorly designed. Everything sucks. We need to be spread out a lot more than we are now, and not be congested. It really shouldn't have any city larger than 200,000. There, I said it. Shouldn't have any city larger than 200,000. No concentrations of humans higher than 200,000. That's just the number I've arbitrarily picked. But So anyway, keep your eye on China, or excuse me, keep your eye on Africa, because there's a lot of great opportunities there to develop a lot of self and associative type technologies. There are already a lot of ground. I'm sure we'll get to those stories as we go along. And then we get this story. Adult film star's sudden death cause revealed. Jessica James, adult film star's tragic death, cause of death revealed. Wait, oh, tragic. I put in the extra death. Tragic cause of death revealed. While James's death is still considered the result of natural causes, as there was no signs of foul play or accidental injury, one line from the autopsy report seemed to illuminate the circumstances that led to her untimely passing. The coroner noted that chronic ethanol abuse was a factor in the death. According to TMZ, several prescription pill bottles were found near James's body. Those two factors, combined with James's well-documented history of substance abuse, have led many to the conclusion that while she may not have overdosed, the performer's death was primarily a result of her drug and alcohol consumption. So it sounds like what they're saying is she just kind of wore her body out. She shot her body. She literally partied herself to death, but not like didn't overdose. She just slowly ground it, kind of like Leaving Las Vegas guy kind of drank himself to death, like slowly. Or did he choose to die at the end? I think he did. Oh man, I don't remember now. I'd like to think that he chose to die. Not that I would want at that to be the outcome ever in a real life story. I'm just talking about a fictional story. I would never ever want that to end for a real human being that way, unless they were a Dallas Cowboys fan. But I think everybody would understand that. Oh, I went down to briefs. I don't want to go down there. Okay, so, and there you go. That's it. That's what we got, kids. That is primarily what we have for this show. So, feel sorry for the young lady to just grind herself down so prematurely. I wonder if she enjoyed her ride. Maybe she just fell asleep, tired, and just didn't wake up. Yeah. All right. Well, so that's the end of the show, folks. I thank you all for joining me here. I had a lot of fun doing this, a lot of comments and interactions going on in the chat, doing that whole, law of attraction thing. And appreciate all the comments and everything. It's been wonderful. And we will see you tomorrow. And I may be doing something different tomorrow. And I'm not sure. But I do feel like the Friday show should be different than the Monday through Thursday show. But we'll think about that. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get the crap out of here. And let's just pretend none of this. Let's just pretend this never happened, all right? Everybody just walk away. Just walk away. So I'm going to play out the music, and then we're going to punch this puppy. We're going to punch this puppy in the head.